Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Beau Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to talk about My Hero Academia Season 5 finale, The High, Deep Blue Sky. What do you think that means? Something about potential? Characters reaching for their limits? They talk about that a lot in My Hero.
Yeah, I just think, maybe it's just a nice day out.
Right. Right, a nice day before the clouds get really, before the sky gets really cloudy.
Oh yeah, shit's about to get real cloudy.
Shit's about to get depressing. But before we talk about this finale episode, we also wanted to talk about the previous 3 to 4 episodes, the League of Villains versus the Liberation Front. It felt like a culmination for this season, obviously them focusing on the villains, My Villain Academia, getting more insight into Shigaraki, into how he became who he is today and how he continues to level up. Yeah, you like that? My Villain Academia?
I didn't know what they were going for.
School for villains. 2 different types of villains. I do love when stories like this pit villains against each other, but with Redestro, you have a villain who, more like Thanos, it's more the supervillain you see these days, where from his perspective, he's right. He's a good guy. He thinks he's fighting for the right thing, but he's misguided. Shigaraki is all about destruction. More one-dimensional, but I think what's interesting is the way that they got to that one dimension of being someone who's obsessed with destruction is very nuanced, and there's a lot to dig in when it comes to the flaws and cracks of superhero society, showing how Shigaraki came to be who he is. So what did you think about that, the fight between the League of Villains and the Liberation Front?
No, yeah, it was fantastic, and I think definitely the change of perspective and going the My Villain route, it's never a bad thing when you can get more depth and characterization into an antagonist, because we see a lot of times when superhero movies or shows, if a criticism of those is that sometimes the villains aren't that great, it's usually because they're very one-dimensional. And going back into his past and seeing why he is who he is today and kind of how he got there, it can only help, because and not just for Shigaraki, I think characters like Twice and Toga, like a lot of them got a lot of depth, and not as much as our heroes, of course, but I think just enough where when that showdown does happen that they tease in the post-credit scene of the finale, it's going to be that much more impactful. Because you know these characters. I like Twice. Shigaraki, yeah, he's like a terrible person, but like, tell me you weren't watching that final confrontation and just being like, yo, this guy is going off right now.
Yeah, you're definitely rooting for him.
Yeah, and that's a result of when you put 2 villains against each other, right? Because you're going to gravitate towards one side, and obviously we've seen this character for many seasons now, and just that battle, like, and seeing him level up, and the way they kind of animated him, he looks majestic. Like that one shot of looking up at him with the sun in the back, and he's just with the white hair flowing. It's just like, am I rooting for him? Do I want to join the League of Villains? I think I am.
Right, and Redestro's looking at him like the second coming. Like this is the Messiah who's come to lead the Liberation Front so that they can get what they want. They want a world where they can use their quirks freely. More like Stain, they have the ideology that they're fighting for. Shigaraki isn't fighting for that. Shigaraki is fighting for his right to destroy anything he wants, and he's more than ready to risk his life doing it. I think he expects his crusade to end with his death. That's kind of the final step when it comes to a hero whose power is to destroy, and that's the only thing he actually cares about. But yeah, you made a great point. Very majestic, very light on his feet, his movements, similar to Deku, man. The way that he was toying with Redestro reminded me of Deku versus Overhaul. And there's a lot of parallels between them, especially in this season, with Deku coming into his own with his new quirk, Black Whip, and we saw at the end of the finale that he's going to be learning more about the quirks of the predecessors, the other holders of One for All. But just going back to Shigaraki for a second, I think it's the Joker origin story done so well. And the thing they always say about the Joker is that he's better when you don't know much about him. But if you're going to get into that backstory, it needs to be as horrific as what Shigaraki went through. And it also points to the flaws and cracks of superhero society, that the only person who was willing to lend a hand to this young boy wandering the streets was the biggest creep in the world. So that's what happens when people are overwhelmed with powers that they're unfamiliar with. They don't know how to deal with them. These are the things that a lot of superhero stories and shows don't address. So I think it's an interesting angle to address it in the way of, this is where villains come from.
To be fair, if I saw that little kid come up to me on the street, I'm punting him.
Punt in the face?
Dude, like...
Charlie Brown style.
Yeah. Let's lose blood all over him, that creepy-ass smile.
Call Child Services.
What are they going to do?
Call All Might.
Child Services has a great track record. Maybe All Might. Yeah, All Might will pick him up, fly him around, get him a Happy Meal.
this is All Might's probably biggest regret, is not being here for this kid, knowing that he's the grandson of his mentor that gave so much to him, and look what happens. So I think his villain origin story, it makes him way more, like, you're not, I mean, of course you're a bit sympathetic, but you're kind of just horrified. And of course you now understand why he's gotten to this point. But you're just terrified that a person had to have gone through this and that he's still, at the end of the day, he's suffering, right? Because this isn't how a person is supposed to be. Even if this is your inherent instinct to destroy, there's supposed to be people around you that can help you resist that temptation. And he doesn't have any of that. He just has people pushing him to the extremes. That's what this whole thing was, right? Pushing him against the wall so that he could ascend. And then got Gigantomachia just... That man was emotional watching that shit.
I was weeping.
He needed a shoulder to cry on. He was proud. He was like, oh, I could follow this guy.
Yeah.
I could follow this guy.
I mean, that was a great scene, too, when they're...
Vladdy Jr.
When they're having, like, that little rally, like, I was getting a little hyped. Like,
dude, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Beaten to submission, just, this is my shit now. This is my army.
Yeah.
And the path there wasn't easy, dude. I think the setting of... it felt like an abandoned city, but apparently there were civilian casualties. But just letting superheroes destroy a city, that's as classic as it gets, right? That's the best playground for superhero characters to show off their abilities. And we got so many epic moments, like Toga's whole near-death experience, Twice leveling up as well, just going full out with his clones, not having any reservations.
Twice is... I need a redemption for Twice. I'm rooting for him. Hopefully Hawks takes him. You know, he's just like... Hey.
Brings one of them.
But yeah, you know, he's not that bad. He's just a little crazy.
And even Redestro, I mean, obviously he becomes a bit pathetic there at the end, but he was a cool villain for Shigaraki. He was a cool adversary for him to go up against. But the finale sees us back with the kids, ending their first year.
Just want to say, like, my quirk was stress, and I can use that for power. I would fucking wash Shigaraki.
Think so?
Oh, yeah.
Prime All Might?
What does he have to stress about? He's rich. He seems pretty well. Fall off.
He probably just goes out of his way to build stress. He parks illegally, gets a ticket. Just gotta find ways.
Hold that on. But yeah, I mean, those battles in the cities. I mean, especially when you had all the twins. I don't know. What's Twice is already plural, I think.
Yeah, I would suggest just moving on before you tie your brain into a pretzel.
But those battles, getting to see some of the members of the Liberation Army, and kind of, even though we don't spend much time on them, just I think there's a lot of cool characters, especially the one who was kind of controlling everything in the back. And then you had all these different showdowns, getting more into Twice, getting more into Toga, and even like some of the ways they were manipulating Twice with, I mean, I think that was like super intense.
Yes.
Because we got into his psychological problems, and for them to do that again to him, for him to relive that experience, but then coming out of it even better, was, I think, a great moment for that kind of character. And that's, like I said, the advantages of taking a step back, going into my villain, and giving these characters some depth.
Yeah, and the Liberation Front, it's what Hawks has been investigating throughout the season. It's what the heroes have been preparing for. They know that they're going to have to put the lives of children on the line because they're desperate, because they need the bodies. We see how big this army is, and now Shigaraki is taking control of it. That's also interesting for me. The heroes, we saw it with Endeavor, realizing that it's not kids fighting just because it's a show that focuses on kids. There's a necessity there. So obviously we want to see them fight the bad guys. We want those epic moments. But they're going to be putting their lives on the line. I think that things are getting a bit more serious, a bit more mature. This is, I don't know if it's the end game of the series, but this is going to be the matchup that they've been teasing for a long time. Deku versus Shigaraki. And what a great way to tease it, because we imagine season 6 is going to be even more action-packed than this season was. And also, you know, seeing who's behind Shigaraki. What the hell is going to happen with Dr. Yujiko, the doctor who worked for All for One, and who is presumably giving Shigaraki more power.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the multiple quirks like Deku, but maybe they're trying to give him a newer version of One for All. That's what they tease, right?
Yeah.
I always wondered that, like, can All for One pass that power on? I guess not. Or I guess it's through this, whatever this is. It's like All Might's version of it is more pure.
Yeah, eat my hair.
Yeah, eat my shit. Fucking All for One's got to give you a blood transfusion.
What do you say? It's like you're going to be in terrible pain for the next month? I'm thinking I'm pretty powerful right now. I'm good.
Right. The whole point of the season or that arc was to show how powerful he's now become because they back him against the wall. And now he's going to get even more powerful. He's just earned more and more power.
Good for him. But yeah, it was nice to... As great as the League of Villains was, it was nice to get back with my friends. And we are friends, all of us. I feel like I'm part of that group.
Yeah, it's
I'm like
also...
I sit in back of class. You don't really see me too much. Don't really have that good of a quirk, but no, we're definitely friends.
Minetta? Yeah, Minetta's one of the friends.
Less horny.
Okay. It doesn't bode well for the heroes here. I don't think we'll see any kids die, but I think the adult heroes, we may see some of them get picked off.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. Like, it's always difficult in scenarios like this, especially with a show like this where you're invested in so many different characters. And it's like, well, you don't want anyone to die, but like story-wise, maybe it makes sense and it could further along. And if it's done right, then maybe, but also don't touch any of them.
Right. Like a character I've been expecting to die forever is All Might, just from natural causes, because the man seems like he's in terrible shape.
He's coughing up a lung every episode.
Right. But we see the scene here with him and Eraserhead where Eraserhead tells him there's still a lot that you can do behind the scenes. Just being here, your presence, you're still an icon. And it's cool to see how that relationship has grown. Eraserhead used to dislike All Might. He thought he was all flash and show, but he discovers that no, deep down, he's actually fighting for the right reasons, and he does care. So All Might makes that effort to find some more information about the predecessors' powers and how Deku can possibly master those powers. Like you mentioned before, we saw Black Whip, and it looks like he's gotten a decent control on it, that he can keep it for about 5 to 10 seconds. He can expand it more. There's more whips, black whips, really.
Yeah.
So I guess that is a good power to counter Shigaraki in some sort of way, because you want that man restrained.
As someone who also can last 10 seconds, I found you can make a lot of that time and be very useful.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure if you're talking about fighting crime. Because crime, matter of seconds, what you're talking about.
It depends, like, what day it is and what we're, like, getting into, you know?
I felt bad for the tape hero. It's like, you just made me obsolete, bro. They barely give me screen time anyway. Now you took my fucking power. Uraraka's like, what's your next power you're learning?
Dude,
float.
Always makes me laugh so hard when they're, like, when they're doing, like, the little title cards, and it's like, quirk, tape.
Yeah. Or I like Froppy. Quirk. Frog.
Yeah.
Has all the abilities that a frog has.
And like you said, when they are going over the past quirks of the holders of One for All, you know, it is an interesting wrinkle that Bakugo is privy to this information, and he is sitting down with them in those meetings, and that relationship between them, I mean, it's still, you know, you got Bakugo telling him to die, and they have that freeze frame of him slitting his neck with his tongue out, which is fucking hilarious. But even, like, Deku thinks back on it later in the episode and is like, I never thought at the beginning of this year that I would be able to have just a regular conversation with Kacchan. And, like, we see that, like, that's just, their relationship has blossomed into something where, yeah, maybe they're not, like, going out to lunch or grabbing a beer. Well, they're kids, so they won't be doing that. But you know what I mean. I think there's, like, a healthy kind of competitiveness and relationship there. And, like, even when they talk about, like, when it's like, oh, we're going to teach you how to float. And Bakugo's like, oh, I've been doing that for years.
Yeah, I already know.
I'm better than you.
Now I'm going to pass you.
Die.
But he really does care about Deku's growth, and he expresses it in his own way, as he always has. But he wants Deku to take those leaps, because I think he realizes how important Deku is. He understands what All Might meant. All Might was Bakugo's hero. So the symbol of peace is something that has gone away, but it needs to come back, and Deku is supposed to be that next guy. A lot of people think that the show is heading towards more of it's going to be the symbols of peace, more of a team-up. We're seeing it from the villain front, and now Class 1A, they really make sure that they hit on that, how united that class is, how different and special they are, that they've really grown into a family. Not because of power, but because of teamwork. Mm-hmm. And those two are the most important guys when it comes to, you know, the overall mentality of that team, the morale of that team. They really drive it. So their relationship continues. Like you said, they're not going out to the movies, they're not holding hands in the park, but they may play Call of Duty online.
I've seen some fan art where they are.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people just wanting that to happen. Maybe one day. But I think they play Fortnite. Bakugo just telling Deku to die every time he dies in the game. Blaming him for everything. But I think there's a lot to look forward to for next season. For people who thought this season was a bit slow when it came to the arc with the students, or that they sped through the My Villain Academia arc, because I know a lot of people said that there's more in the manga to that arc. I think that next season is going to be, because I think season 5 did take a step back. Not a huge step back where I'm disappointed in it, but I enjoyed season 4 more. And I'm anticipating season 6 to be just an absolute epic of a season.
I just can't wait for a new intro.
Now we're here.
I hate it. Drives me
hey,
insane.
Hey brother, listen. Our fate can be hard-hearted.
Yeah.
It's not growing on you?
I thought it might, but then I was like, no, I'm forcing it on myself here. It's like I wanted to like it.
Every intro grows on me. It's the same cycle for me all the time. I'm such a sucker. I love the intro. They change it. I hate it. I grow to love it. They change it. I hate it. I grow to love it. Every time. Every anime. It doesn't matter. Like, I hate this. It's 3 episodes later, I'm like, what was the last one? How did the last one even go?
I think it was Attack on Titan Season 2, where I'm just like, once they change that, I'm like, even though the other ones are good, it's like, this is just too fucking good. It's like, just keep it.
Right, yeah. When it's the best one, I think my favorite was My Hero Season 2, or Season 3. I forget which one it was.
But yeah, obviously, a lot coming in the next season. I can't wait. And like you said, this showdown is just going to be, you just expect it to be epic, and you expect to get more into these characters because that's what they do best, I think. It's a show where, yeah, you have all these different things at your disposal with all the quirks and the settings and everything like that, but they don't rely on that too much because it is very character driven. And now with, I think even if the My Villain thing was cut short from the manga, like, it's still, for me as a viewer, gave me a ton. So the investment's there on both sides, so it's going to be fun to just watch every week and see that kind of play out.
All right, guys, that is our review for the Season 5 My Hero Academia finale. We will be back, hopefully, for a Season 5 review. We're hoping to bring in Andres for that, so be on the lookout for that video. And yeah, thank you for watching this, and we hope to see you soon.
We should do a villain arc.
What do you mean, like us ourselves as villains?
Yeah, villain soup.
Okay. So how would we do that? What's our trademark?
Mustaches.
Evil mustache, man. You throw an evil mustache on a guy, you can't trust him.
Nope. Damn. We were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Beau says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.